Welcome to the last day of this beginner series. I'm so proud of you for making it until day 5, and today is all about hip opening. So we'll move a little bit slower, stretching deep into the hips, and we'll start in our reclined butterfly pose, so lying all the way onto the spine, bringing the soles of the feet to touch and letting the knees open to the sides. And then you can place one hand onto your belly and one hand onto your heart and close your eyes. And then start to tune in with your body here, feeling what it's like to be in your body today. Feeling the belly rising with every inhale in and softening with the exhale out. And starting to deepen your breath here, taking deeper inhales in through your nose and deeper exhales out. Keeping your focus on your breath. And for today's class, I chose the intention of becoming obsessed with your own potential. To me, that is one of the most motivating and just inspiring thoughts and intentions, to become obsessed with what you are capable of, letting go of what anyone else is doing or achieving, and thinking about what is the absolute best that you can do. And I know it's so difficult to not compare and to just stay focused on yourself, because we automatically just all the time compare ourselves. But what if we look at another person's progress or achievements and see it as inspiration and as an affirmation of what is possible? Because if it's possible for them, then it's also possible for you. So not taking it as a reason to doubt your own possibilities or your own worth, but seeing it as an affirmation. And continue to ask yourself, what's the absolute best that you're capable of? That's where our whole focus should go, to become obsessed with our own potential. And in today's class, as we open into the hips and take some deep stretches, a lot of sensation can come up for you, not just physically, but also emotionally, because we tend to hold a lot of stress and emotional tension in our hips, because especially the hip flexor is the muscle that immediately contracts whenever we're in a stressful situation, like we get a stressful message or are in a situation that puts a lot of pressure on us. It's that muscle in the hips that contracts. So it's completely normal to feel a lot of sensation, both in the body and the mind. And now we can start to blink the eyes open, close your knees together like a book, hug them into your chest. And then with your hands, we're gonna draw the knees apart from each other in a circular movement and back together. Making these knee hip circles in one direction. And switching it out, moving the opposite way. And from here, moving into our happy baby. And we can either grab the outsides of the feet here, keeping the arms on the insides of the legs, or you can also hold onto your ankles, whatever allows you here to keep your spine fully grounded. So we want to make sure that especially the lower spine, the sacrum, is grounded down into the mat. And from there you can start to rock from side to side here, having the soles of the feet face up towards the ceiling. and slowly release your feet. Bring your hands behind your thighs, and we're gonna rock up to come to a seated position and shift the legs to one side to come onto the shins, and we'll find our toes sit from here. So start to tuck all your 10 toes under, sitting the hips onto the heels, and this can be a super intense sensation. I promise we won't stay forever, so stay with it. Bring your hands together, interlacing the fingers, and move into your wrists here, moving one way and then switching it out. Stay with it, breathe into any sensation. It gets less if you lean forward, it gets more intense if you lean back. Now from there, reach your palms forward, flipping them forward, and inhale, lift all the way up, look up, and exhale, lean forward around your spine. Continuing with that movement, and you might ask yourself why we're stretching into the toes if we are working on the hips today. But the thing is that the whole body is so interconnected that having tension in your toes can actually tighten your hips. Now gently release your arms when we're done with the toe stretch, and you can tap your feet onto the mat, and we'll reverse the stretch. So we'll do a counter stretch by leaning back, floating the knees and the shins off your mat, and maybe you want to keep your fingertips down, or you can place your hands onto your thighs or bring them in front of your heart, stretching into the tops of the feet, the ankles. And release, coming into our tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Moving into our wrists, find your wrist stretch either with the fingers pointing to the side or pointing to your knees, and then finding soft movement, rocking forward and back. And then counter stretch, bringing the palms facing upwards, fingers pointing towards you, rocking forward and backward. And bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chin, arch your spine for cow pose. Exhale, chin to your chest, round your spine, press your palms into the mat. Let's do a few more in your own pace. Maybe you want to close your eyes. Connecting the breath to the movement. And we're gonna meet in our downward facing dog. So walk your hands forward, tuck your toes, and lift your hips up for this first down dog. Noticing how it feels, how does your body feel, how do your hamstrings feel. Finding any movement here that you like. Maybe keeping your feet as wide as the mat, or keeping them hip distance apart. Hands are shoulder distance apart with all 10 fingers spread wide. And with our next inhale, we're going to lift the right leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring the right knee to your right elbow, and then step the foot to the outside of your right hand for our lizard lunge. So both hands are on the inside of the right foot. We're gonna keep the left knee lifted, so tuck your left toes, lift the left knee up, and you can rock forward and backward here on your left toes. Start to make some circles into your hips, so moving your hips here, feeling it out. And then we'll lower the left knee back down, untuck your toes, and then staying either on your palms, or maybe you can come all the way down onto your forearms, or you want to use a block where you can place your arms on. And we're gonna surrender to this pose, relaxing the neck, relax your jaw, so notice if you're holding any tension here, clenching your jaw, try to soften it, and then keep your focus on your breath. Deep inhales and long full exhales. And making our way back onto the palms if you're on the forearms. Retuck your left toes to lift the knee up, and then we'll make a big step forward with the left foot to come into our yogi squat, malasana, bringing the hands in front of the heart, hips sink low, and we keep the upper arms on the insides of the knees and really press the knees away from each other. And this can also be a super intense pose, so if this is too much, maybe you want to place a pillow or a block underneath your sit bones. It's also totally normal if your heels are lifted here, that's fine, but we want to work towards bringing the heels closer towards the mat. But for now, let's just try our best to stay here and breathe deeply. One more inhale in. And with the exhale, we're gonna plant the palms down into the mat and take a big step back with the right foot, staying on the right toes here, so keeping the right heel lifted and rocking forward and backward on the right toes, maybe making circles into the hips here. So feeling it out. And then lowering the right knee down into the mat, untuck your toes, and either staying on your palms or lowering down onto your forearms. And again, surrendering fully to this pose, breathing into any sensation that you can feel, and coming back to our intention for this class of focusing fully on your potential. We are so much more capable than we think we are. We're probably only doing 20% of what we are really fully capable of in our lives. And I think that is so interesting to think about. Now let's lift back onto the palms if we're on the forearms. And from there, we're just gonna shift the left knee back next to the right to come back into our tabletop position. And from there, we're gonna extend the right leg back, bend your knee, and then opening the hip to the side, start to make circles with your right knee and hip to the right, keeping the knee bent in a 90-degree angle. Imagining as if we're moving through something really heavy, and then switching the direction, moving the opposite way, working into our hip rotation here. And from there, bring the right knee behind your left, so crossing the knees, bring your heels wide so that you can sit all the way back into Gomukhasana, cow face pose. And you maybe have to adjust a little bit so that you can bring your sit bones down. It helps to lift yourself up a little bit and back down. So find your seat. If you want to have it more intense, then you can bring your heels further away from you. And now you can either stay here or walk your hands forward, maybe lowering onto your forearms and breathing here into your outer hips. Staying for one more round of breath. Deep inhale in and exhale, lifting yourself back up, rolling back onto your palms, uncrossing your knees, so back into our tabletop position, and lifting the hips up, returning to our downward facing dog. Taking a moment here. And with our next inhale, we'll lift the left leg all the way up, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring the left knee to your left elbow and step the left foot to the outside of your palm, staying high on the right toes, keeping the right knee lifted and finding gentle movement, shifting forward and backward on the right foot, maybe trying out these hip circles, and then lowering the right knee down into the mat, untuck your toes, and we can either stay again on the palms or lower onto the forearms, or maybe you want to try out here to roll onto the outer blade of your left foot and open your knee to the left, bringing the left hand on the inside of your thigh and then drawing the leg away from you. If we want to go one step further, we can bend the right knee and reach back with your left hand, grabbing the foot and drawing it towards you. So choosing whichever option is accessible to you right now and then staying there. Again, noticing if you're holding any tension in your jaw. Softening your whole face. And making our way back up. Let's tuck the right toes and take that big step forward with the right foot to come back into Malasana, Yogi Squat. Again, if you need anything to put underneath your hips, then grab that. And trying as best as possible to sit upright here. Stay with any sensations you can feel. Try to stick with it here. Press your arms into your inner thighs. Lift the chest. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's take one more inhale in. Exhale, bring your palms down and we step the left foot all the way back, keeping the palms on the inside of the right foot and then finding soft movement, making these circles, staying high on the left toes. And then we lower the left knee down into the mat, untuck your toes. And then we can either stay on the palms or we lower down onto the forearms. We can also try to roll onto the outer blade of the right foot, bringing the right hand to the inner right thigh and then drawing the leg and the knee away from you, melting the left hip forward and down. And another option to try here is to bend the left knee, grabbing the foot with your right hand. So maybe you want to try all of these options and then stay in whichever option is most sustainable for you, where you can really fully surrender and breathe into any sensation you can feel here, trying to keep your breath deep and steady. And then coming back onto the palms and shifting the right knee back next to the left into our tabletop position, and we're gonna extend the left leg long behind us, bend the left knee and then start to open the hip to the left, making these circles with our left hip, moving into this hip socket and reversing the direction. Imagine as if you're moving through thick air here. And then we're gonna cross the left knee behind the right and move the heels apart from each other so we can again find our seat here in our Gomukhasana pose, the cow face pose. Take any time you need here to adjust it so you can sit comfortably, maybe moving the heels further away from you to make it a bit more intense. And then we can stay upright or we can fold forward, coming all the way down onto the forearms and breathing into the stretch in the outer hips. Soften your jaw, your face, your neck. And let's start to slowly lift ourselves back up and roll over the knees here, coming back onto all fours and then tucking the toes and lifting back up into our downward facing dog. And next we will move into our pigeon pose. So with the next inhale, sweep the right leg up. Exhale, bring the knee into your chest and lower the right shin down into the mat. Extend the left leg long behind you. And maybe you want to move the right heel further away from you to increase the stretch, or bring it closer towards you to make it a little bit less intense. And then we'll come onto the fingertips to lift the chest up. Square your hips, draw the left hip forward, right hip back. Inhale in. And with the exhale, melting all the way forward and down to come into our sleeping pigeon. And if you're feeling a lot of discomfort in this pose, then that's actually a really good thing. I want you to strive for feeling discomfort in your yoga practice, because if we go to these places that are really uncomfortable and we stay there and we fully breathe into it, that's exactly where we're gonna initiate change in the body. But I definitely want to point out that you should never ever feel any pain. So if there's ever anything that's painful, I want you to come out of it immediately or take a step back. So always differentiating between, is something uncomfortable or is it painful? Taking about 3 more deep breaths in this pose. Try to soften into it, soften your jaw. And with your next exhale, start to slowly come up, lifting yourself out of the pose and making our way back into downward facing dog. So we can move to the other side. So inhale, sweep the left leg up, 3-legged dog. And exhale, knee to your chest and lower the left shin down. Extend the right leg long behind you. And right away trying to square off your hips. So draw the right hip forward, the left hip back. Maybe moving the heel further away from us to increase the stretch. And then lifting onto the fingertips, taking an inhale to lift the chest. And with the exhale, melting all the way forward and down into our sleeping pigeon. Maybe bringing your forehead down into the mat and starting to surrender into this pose, fully breathing into it. So try to stay with your deep inhales and exhales to signal to the body that we're safe, that everything's okay, so that the nervous system relaxes and allows us to move fully and deeply into the pose. Making our way out of the pose, so lifting back up, and from here we can just roll onto the left hip, bringing the right leg forward, coming onto the sit bones, and we'll extend the legs in front of us, reaching the arms forward around your spine, and we'll roll all the way down into the mat. Bend your knees, placing the feet down, and then we're gonna take the left ankle and place it on top of the right thigh, flexing the left foot, and you can thread your arms through your legs here to grab the right thigh from behind, and then drawing the legs towards you, actively trying to push your left forearm into your left thigh so that we draw the knee away from us to increase the stretch. So this is a reclined figure 4. Also stretching deep into the outer hip. And I want to show you one more version here that you can try, is to bring the foot into the right elbow crease and the left arm around your knee and interlacing the fingers and drawing the shin towards you, but that's quite intense. So you can just try and see if it works. Otherwise, we'll stay in our figure 4, remembering that depth will come with time and with consistency, and the shape doesn't necessarily matter. It matters what we can feel in the body, and if we can feel the stretch in the places that we're tight, and then softening it. Let's switch sides, so bringing the right ankle onto the left thigh, hands are wrapped behind the left leg, actively press the right forearm into your right thigh, and I want to show you again the second option here is to bring the foot into your elbow crease, wrapping your arms around your shin, drawing your leg towards your chest while the left leg stays extended down into the mat, or just staying in our reclined figure 4. Remembering to keep the right foot flexed here to protect the knee. And then release your thigh, and we'll come one more time into our happy baby like in the beginning. So make sure you can ground your spine into the mat and grab either your ankles or the outsides of your feet, keeping the arms on the insides of the legs, softly rocking from side to side. Soles of the feet are facing up towards the ceiling. And we'll release, hug your knees into your chest, bring your forehead to your knees, wrap your forearms around your shins. One more deep inhale, and exhale to release. And we'll do our final Shavasana at the end of day 5. You really deserve this one. You can extend your arms wide, your legs wide, palms are facing up towards the ceiling, feet are falling to the sides, and you can close your eyes here, letting your whole body melt down into the ground beneath you. Shifting the focus to our third eye point on the forehead, and imagine a golden, warm light that is shining onto that area and softening all the tiny little muscles on your forehead, the eyebrows, the eyelids, the cheeks, the nose, the lips, and the jaw, and softening your whole face. And it's melting away any tension also through the rest of your body, all the way through your arms into your fingertips, through the chest, the belly, the hips, the thighs, the knees, the calves, all the way down into the feet, into the toes, bringing your whole body into a state of complete calmness, complete relaxation, allowing the body and the mind to seize in all the benefits from our practice. You can stay here as long as you like. If you want to come out of the pose, then start by wiggling your toes and your fingertips, softly moving your head from side to side, reaching the arms up above the head for a full body stretch, and then drawing your knees to your chest and rolling onto your right side, our sun side, using your arm as a pillow for your head and thanking your body for the practice, for being so healthy. And with the eyes still closed, we'll make our way back up to a seated position. And let's bring the hands in front of the heart for Anjali Mudra. And lift your hands up to your third eye point for clear and kind thoughts. Lower your hands in front of the lips to speak kind words, and back to heart center to feel and give love and kindness. Thank you so much, really from the bottom of my heart, for doing these 5 days with me. It means more to me than I can express, because I know there's a million yoga videos out there and you choose to be here with me, and I'm so proud of you for sticking with all 5 days, because seriously, it's so rare that people really stick with something for a few days. so you can be so proud of yourself also, and I hope I'll see you around. So definitely let me know if there's any specific yoga videos you would like to see, and yeah, feel free to explore all the other videos on my channel. I do think you could now start the 7 days of yoga journey as well that I have on here. The first class is quite fast-paced, but in general I think it's one of the best ways to deepen your practice. And yeah, I hope I'll see you around. I'll send you lots of love. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling, how these 5 days were for you, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, lots of love. Bye bye.